Hi everyone, I'm here at the Cobalt building, which is the headquarters of Siemens Gamesa service in the UK, and I'm here with David Boogie. But Dave, why are you here today?
Well, I think both of us, we could do a bit of an inquiry, bring people together that have been working here for the last few years, and just I think first question is, why use social network? What's the value that's being created from it? And then I think there's a second question around, what's the journey been like here? So why is it? What were the ingredients that existed here that enabled SSN to take off to the extent that it did?
Unless you actually stop communicating stuff by email, you're not going to get people receiving information through SSN. So you've got to stop that mindset of this is really important, it has to go on email, because actually you won't create that shift unless you do. And I think it is people feeling that they're missing out is a big influencer into getting people hooked. Not hooked, but you know what I mean, engaged.
We did have to kind of force a little bit, but I remember having a discussion with Tom where we said you've got to be committed to saying, this is what we're going to use. And if people consistently send emails, you have to kind of stand back and go, that's not how we're going to do this anymore. So I just had to really be on top of any time anybody would consistently send emails going, no, this information's on SSN, that's where you need to go for that now, or you need to put this request in through SSN. And that I did that specifically because I knew that it wasn't just me who could help people. If they put it on SSN, other people could help them.
And there's probably like 10% that didn't buy into it, and all the sort of things we've touched on. It's I don't do social media. I don't do Facebook. This isn't my thing. All these reasons. And I think at the time I was actively, from the start, actively using social network for various reasons. And I had a sort of turning point where I sort of turned it into a tool. It was a private group, and almost overnight, the sharing of the manifest for the following day, how the plan, critical information, I just switched it off email and onto a private group overnight. And those 5-6 people, they had to be in that group then. And I guess it felt like a bit strong-armed. And that for me was a big turning point. When it became a tool, fear of missing out.
So actually a game changer was me is when I started using the app on the work phone. After that it was via the laptop and that sort of thing. But actually once you start using the app on the phone, it just made it even more accessible, You really need to look at how you can change quickly at the top, because they are the most influential people in organisations. Otherwise you're reliant on the local leadership, which is then more organic.
Our direct team manager was invested in it, so when we did our team strategy day, he dedicated about an hour and a half, 2 hours to just how will we best utilise SSN in our team, both within our own team private group, but as well in the wider industry. And we set targets. Based on that, we set objectives, and we put that in our annual performance targets to go, this is what we're going to use SSN for. So so basically we were incentivized to use it, but by the end of it, it was a case of, well, we don't need the incentive anymore because we've seen the value of it. So I think there's different layers that's required. There's not going to be one kind of fix-all.
At the very beginning it was a communication problem, and I believe Tom was introduced to this SocialCast tool that you obviously sought permission from the management board to drop on the organisation, but I don't remember. It's really interesting. I may be wrong here. You can correct me if I'm wrong. I remember a very below the radar. Take a look at this. I don't remember some great big. Let's put a pot on everyone's desk and here's a cup with circuit on it. It was not like that at all, and you relied. And it was you relied on what I would call contagion. You dripped something in, and then what you looked for was someone who believed in it the same way you did. You saw it, immediately believed in it, saw that there was potential, and you looked for others to support you. David was one of them. And I think there was one other. I can't remember who it was, but I remember there being 2 departments that really started to use it and started to play with it. And as a member of David's department, he didn't set targets about using the SSN or anything like that. But it was a constant source of discussion within, like the team meetings and that sort of thing. And it was also barrier-free. Post what you want was David's mantra. Don't worry about reputation, or just be honest with it and start sharing what's going on. So that a technician down at London Array knows that we're currently fixing canopy cracks up in the north of Scotland, if they want to. But have fun with it. And I think that through that process, contagion did happen. Because every person that then saw it and got a little thing from it, whether it was a smile or a valuable piece of information, they then decided to set up their own profile and invest in it. And that happened over like an 18-month period. And then finally, all I would say is that from a leadership perspective, you then need, my analogy would be, you need a sun. You need a sun in the sky that you can always look up to and rely on, and not stroking his ego too much. The sun is Tom.
There's always this thing, you've been working somewhere for a while and there's questions that you want to ask, but you think, I've been here this long, I should really know the answer to this. And I think mine was just like a very small question. I think it was like, how do you set the out of office on your phone? And it'd been annoying me for ages, I didn't know how to do it. I said, right, okay, I'll just do it, I'll just put it on SSN and see what happens. And I got the answer within a minute. And I think the only person that was more pleased about me getting that answer was he was straight on it. And he was like straight at it. Somebody said, just go here, settings, and he was just like, you see, how it does work. And then it was just that small, it is almost like a wee light bulb moment. And it wasn't something big, it wasn't like a strategy you're trying to roll out or anything. It's just like a wee small thing, and you think, actually, maybe there is something.
Well, another interesting session. Great input from everyone. And lots of views and opinions and ideas from everyone who attended. But what were your main takeaways, Dave? Your top things that you noticed?
So I think, Tom, there's something about leadership in this. People have to be prepared to do it, to try it, to make it okay for others to try and do it. And if that's not present with the senior leaders, it's really difficult to kind of grow this movement. There's also something around, that this business had technicians that were given iPads and iPhones, and if you don't have the equipment that enables this kind of digital wave of working, then it slows everything down. So there's a practical side to this, which is around having the right kit. I think then there was another thing around, you need people in the organisation who are both kind of prepared to disturb the way things have always been done. At the beginning, in the early days of SSN here, there were plenty of detractors and plenty of people who said, "This, we don't need to use this, we don't need to do it." That's very different today, but it started with some people giving it a go and not being quite sure where the value was, but noticing that it was valuable to get people communicating in a new way. And then the last thing for me was, you have to persevere. It doesn't happen overnight, and you need to keep plugging away, and you need to insist that we're using SSN, and for some things we're moving away from email, and we're just going to use SSN. And I think it's all of those things combined that actually make the difference in the end.
Yeah, and I think that's the key thing for me. It's not one thing.
Yeah.
It's not just one thing that you could suddenly turn on like a switch. So I suppose it's over to you guys, really. It's in your hands. If you're a manager watching this video, if you're in a leadership role, then and you really want to embed this within your team and in the wider organisation, then it's over to you. And good luck, and let us know if you need any help.